Hi there. So the next policy is asset management policy. So the objective of asset management policy, the first thing is we need asset register. We call it as asset register where we track all the assets. And then depending on the asset criticality, we try to manage these assets, putting security controls on top of it. So there's a scope that we call as asset inventory, right? All assets, including but not limited to laptops or displays or monitors, storage. So these are hardware assets. Some other assets can also be software assets like documents, project files, software licenses. So these are all the assets. So all these assets we need to track at some asset inventory. And this should be up to date. So someone should take care from maybe IT department to update this asset inventory. So for this asset inventory, we may have multiple softwares or a central software where you keep or store all these asset details. And hardware and software inventories, both internally hosted as well as externally hosted. So internally hosted are taken care by company itself, it's on premise. Externally hosted means we are storing at any cloud provider or any external vendor. So these are some of the guidelines. So first is asset identification. So we keep some kind of tag. Example, this asset tag on let's say a physical we have a monitor, we place a tag there with a unique identification or a serial number. Ownership assignment. Each and every asset should have an asset owner. So this is mandatory. And this asset owner is responsible to take care of that asset. Like who have access to that assets? Is the asset up to date? And is it protected by antivirus and some other security checklist? Now, asset classification, like we have data classification, similarly, based on the sensitivity and importance, we have 4 types of asset: public asset, internal, confidential, and highly confidential. Public asset, accessible to all common public. Internal asset, only accessible to all employees. Confidential asset, only accessible to a certain team or project team. All internal employees or contractors does not have a by default access to a confidential asset. And highly confidential asset, it's like only a handful of individuals have this. So this is maybe like a production server. It's an asset. It's highly confidential asset. So asset categorization. So here we have classified based on sensitivity and importance. Now we have categorized. So example, the categorization, it depends from company to company. So let's say we have an hardware asset. So hardware asset could be a physical laptop or computer or servers, networking devices, printers, shredder machines. So these are all hardware assets. Software asset, it's like system, application, databases. HR asset, for example, there is an HR team. So all assets used by HR team would be labeled or would be categorized as HR assets. Now there might be multiple projects running in one organization. Let's say we have Bank ABC project. So all assets that falls under Bank ABC are labeled as Bank ABC assets. So just to give a categorization, okay, all this labeled as Bank ABC is pointing to this project. Now development assets, all assets that are used for development environment activities. Like we may have a development server, we may have a development database, and all other things like that falls under development activities are termed as development, SIT, UAT, prod. So this categorization is based on environment. Example, development, SIT, UAT, production. This asset, hardware or software asset, is based on what is the asset type. It's a tangible asset or intangible. This one is categorization based on departments, like HR department, we have IT department or some other department. And this categorization is based on projects. And this depends on how you're categorizing. Now, one asset may have multiple such category. Example, a physical production server for bank ABC. Now, this physical production server, it's a physical server, that's why it's a hardware asset. It's for bank ABC project, that's why we have bank ABC asset as a label here. And it's a production asset, production environment, that's why we have production asset labeled. So this one asset have 3 categories. Now, asset register. This asset register is central tracker to keep track of all such types of assets. Now, finally, for this document, we have asset and access register. Let's check this document. So here we have versioning number, all the details. Here we have asset, what are the asset register? Let's say a company laptop or desktop, it's for all office-based employees. So these are basically the main, we call as mail machines, right? AWS Workspace or Azure VDI. So this is for remote employees who want to connect to the company network. First they connect to, let's say, Azure VDI, and then they connect to company network VPN from VPN. Office space, so there's premise access, and we have a high-level classification. So all these are generic titles of the assets, and here we have a generic default access or default classification of the asset. So company work or desktop or laptop, it's confidential. It should only be limited to that employee or that project. Okay. AWS Workspace or Azure VDI, it's again confidential. Office space, it's for all employees, right? So that's why it's an internal asset. Social media pages, it's public. So I'm not talking about admin access to social media. These are just social media which everyone can browse through and check the company updates. And this is accessible to all public. So similarly, we have restricted sites, server room, Office 365, remote VPN, GitHub or GitLab, where we manage all the source code, development servers, these may be Linux servers or Windows servers, SharePoint, there might be some kind of file storage where we are keeping all tracks of files. So this may be network storage or we can use SharePoint, AD domain server, Active Directory domain server, local admin, local drive access, power management, operating system, antivirus centralized, so only IT team can access a centralized antivirus. So this is like administrator access to antivirus. If they want to deploy some softwares or if they want to deploy some patches to the antivirus, they can deploy to all employees at once. So fingerprint sensor, this is confidential. But this may be internal also. So sensor is confidential to IT team and internal, it is accessible to all employees based on the location of the fingerprint sensor. Encryption of local hard drive, backup, Bluetooth device, so all this employee list and all. This is an asset register and this is the classification. So the next sheet here is access for that asset, what we have it here. So here we have seen all the asset register. Now the access provided to these assets are listed under here. So this is high level access, okay. So for company work desktop or laptop, so it's assigned as per employee. So you can refer this desktop, laptop server sheet. So this is just a sample one. So you can create it for this your organization. Or better, we have some kind of central tools which can track all these laptops and all the assets. So this is the asset ID, that's host name, the asset owner, and some other stuff there. So we have operating system, all the details here. So the privileged user means, is this an administrator or not? What is the asset value? So here we have some of the details. So we have it for employee laptops, for internal servers. So like this, we can maintain in a central sheet, or better use some kind of tools to track the assets. So we have now Azure VDI, so assigned as per employee. If there is a remote employee, then employee need to raise access for Azure VDI. For office space, it's default access to all employees. Social media page, administrator access. The admin access is only with media team who manages the company social media pages. Okay. Restricted access or for IT team only. So like this, we define all of the default access what employees or a team would be having. And there we have employee list. So this may be employees list, date of joining was the staff name, email ID, and all, whether the security awareness training is done or not. So this is important factor here. So this is a sample asset and access register. So here we have list of all assets, a high level permissions here, a default high level permission for which team here. So coming back to the policy now. So here we have discussed the asset register. Now asset relocation or transfer. So in case we have a physical hardware or software, and if we are relocating to some other offsite premise, then we need some kind of approvals or some kind of process before we shift it from one place to other place. So this is for asset relocation or transfer. Now that's on to asset management, other stuff like employee training and awareness, compliance monitoring, escalation matrix. If we want to raise any policy exception, then we follow this document. We already discussed this. And policy review and updates. So all other stuff are generic. So that's it on to asset management policy. If you have any feedback, do comment below. Thank you.